you free. Nobody you meet could ever see the loneliness there inside you. Hey there, Georgie girl, why do all the boys just pass you by? Could it be you just don't try, or is it the clothes you wear? You're always window shopping, but never stopping to buy. So shed those dowdy feathers and fly a little bit.
Okay, you fans of popular culture all over the world, especially you Marilyn Monroe fans, I'm gonna take you to where she went from 12 to 15 years old as a young student at Emerson Junior High. And I know you fans, you hardcore fans like me, you're aware of what happened, what took place at this school. And we're actually maybe about 1,000 feet south of UCLA University. And in the background, I'll show you when I turn the corner, is the massive Latter-day Saints temple. And if you're at all curious, that's where Harold Lloyd made all his films in the 20s until he sold that land to the aforementioned LDS. Okay, we're gonna make a right here, and it's on Selby Avenue here in the Westwood area. And if you're a fan, you know that Norma Jean, she used to like to walk instead of paying the 5 cents, because she said it was sheer pleasure when all the fellows were honking at her along Santa Monica Boulevard. Okay, here we go. Thankfully for you fans, the school is still extant, but I'm gonna say that they've been retrofitting it, so you never know when they're gonna tear down her school. And here you go, Selby Avenue, and there's, like I said, that's where the LDS temple is, where the great Harold Lloyd made all his films. Okay, we're gonna make a left here, and in that photo that I zoomed in on at the beginning, that was her 9th grade graduating class that I would assume that she took the photograph on the front lawn there. And there's even the blinds. I couldn't say if they were the same blinds, but they still have the old-fashioned blinds. Okay, here we go. This is the path that the young 12-year-old Norma Jean would have taken, known as String Bean or Mouse. And then at 13 years old, in 8th grade, she became the girl. Okay, as you can see, they've already added this. The last time I was here, it was still original. The schoolyard, the sidewalk, this cement wall right here is brand new. But here you go. And let's go to the front. And you could easily see, if you suspend your disbelief, that you're back in 1938. And here you go, where the great Marilyn Monroe, formerly Norma Jean Baker, came to school from 1938 to 1941. And as you can see in the background, you can see how you can corroborate the picture with those blinds and kind of like these posts right here. And I would just say that I would like to say, and I would like to believe, that that's where they made the famous photo of her in her 9th grade graduation photo. Let's go out here. Okay, this school, it was built in 1937 and 38 by the famous Richard Neutra. And this was considered the leading edge in what they called modernism architecture at the time. And apparently when Norma Jean started here in 1938, she would have been the first class, the first 7th grade class. And here you go. And like I said, she was known as Mouse or String Bean, and they said that she was one of the first girls that actually bloomed into a little beauty at 13. And she would even have all the students, the young boys, fighting to carry her books. A little bit west from here where she lived with Auntie Anna, where they would fight to carry her books. And when she started here, she was living with Auntie Anna at Nebraska Avenue, which incidentally, you can see where she lived. They actually lived at the top floor. I already recorded that for you fans on my channel. You can see where she lived on Nebraska Avenue while she was coming to the school. And she was an average student, they said. And poor thing, they said she was always alone because she had just come from actually the orphanage she had just come from, but she had stayed, I guess, about a couple of months in Compton with her cousins. And then finally Grace, her guardian, brought her to live with Auntie Anna, who owned apartments. And she, even though she was an older lady, she was a very kindly, giving, loving woman that at that time you could almost say that's what Norma G needed after coming out of that horrible environment in those foster homes with the Bollingers. It wasn't too bad with the Bollingers, but her cousins in Compton, they claimed that her cousin raped her. Anyway, as you can see here, the doors are original for whatever that's worth. And like I said, this was built in the 1937-38 year by the famous Richard Neutra, who was also a contemporary with Frank Lloyd Wright. And they said that this was this type of style, this called international style, the streamlined style. They said this was the quintessential type of example of what they called modernism. And it's also actually on the level of Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water in Pennsylvania, they said, and the Gropius house. In fact, they said that on the top story, on the classrooms up there, they all have stairways leading to terraces, and on the bottom floors, they actually have 15-foot glass and steel garage doors, kind of like the way they build already in the loft style. And they said that every time they call her name out after she started blooming at 13, all the boys would raise their eyebrows and go, In fact, when she was graduating, they did like a student alphabet, and to her insistence, and I guess it came out in the yearbook, she was known as M, the girl. Plus, it didn't help that, and in 9th grade she started this terrible stutter. That's where she got that stutter problem, as you fans well know. And poor thing, when she started here, she only had 2 light blue dresses, and she would wear tennis shoes and Mexican sandals, or otherwise known as huarachas. But as you can see, it's still extant, and it's surrounded by the modern era, encroaching. And you can see that house obviously was here from that time period, the 1930s. And okay, well, Marilyn, wherever you're at, good night to the most beautiful woman of the 20th century. Thank you.